Hey guys, yesterday I decided to pull up one of the two brand new releases of Scrooge. Unfortunately, one of them is not accessed to me because I do not have Apple TV. The one I'm referring to is Scrooge, A Christmas Carol, which is technically a remake of the 1970 version. Now, this is not my first foray into A Christmas Carol. About 4 years ago, I did a video about all of the Scrooges that I own. And I did love them all. And Muppet Christmas Carol is still on my on my absolute top tier of Scrooge movies. This is almost up there. Now, I only pretty much knew 3 of the actors. The rest, no idea. Of course, Luke Evans. If you know me, you know I know Beauty and the Beast. I also know The Alias. I've also seen The Immortals and Clash of the Titans, which he was all in. We had Olivia Colman, who I specifically know from The Crown and a few other projects, and of course another Crown star, that's Jeremy, who played the 3rd incarnation of Prince Philip. I believe he was also in a couple of other projects. This is very much, I would say, a musical with a lot of musical sequences. But I felt like this dived just a tad bit into the story, just a bit more. I felt it was so well animated, especially during what would have been a very hard production because of the whole COVID-19. I think I've also seen a lot of movies that have been released at the moment, so that have had impact because of COVID. I'm assuming this probably had a similar idea, but the colors were so rich and so vibrant that this literally could have been on the big screen, and I would have definitely shelled out some cash to see this on the big screen, even if it was a limited release, which I saw with Glass Onion, and I would have seen with Matilda, but my time constraints. And I felt like this was a bit more of a raw, more emotional Scrooge than I probably have seen in a long time. No offense to Sir Michael Caine. This really was I've just woken up, guys. A well-crafted movie, and I think some of the names were changed. And I know this one had added a little bit of Charles's own story with the whole part of him being his father's been put into debtor's prison and him having to work. Thank you very much. The man who wrote Christmas, who also Jeremy was in, he actually played the father of Charles. So second project with him to do with a Charles Dickens story. And the name was changed. Because I know in the Jim Carrey version, her name was Fanny. In this one, it was Jan. So, changed a little bit. And I noticed they still left the sister as Isabella. I wonder when Luke read that, he was like, I've already had to deal with someone named Isabella, which is Belle from Beauty and the Beast. So whenever you spotted that little connection. And I think it was, the musical numbers weren't distracting. It felt like all of the songs were written specifically for the movie, and it pushed the character forward, especially the song where he is regretting letting Isabella go. You really felt that Scrooge was saying, "You are complete fool, fool, fool." I'm thinking of another word. I'm keeping it PG. You are an absolute. You really feel he really regretted that decision to let Isabella go. Which is very similar to my favorite song from Muppet Christmas Carol, where it's when love is gone. Very similar emphasis that he really felt like he was complete and utter tool. And I think he felt more like he really turned a corner with this particular version. And it was still had that subtle, especially with the third ghost, still had that little bit of element of horror just subtly mixed in, which I was thankful for. The way that they portrayed the ghost of Christmas yet to come or future had that element of horror, which I like. And it didn't feel so wishy-washy. That particular was really scary, and the whole song that they used for that particular sequence was so jarring, but in a good way. It was jarring because they were singing about Scrooge dying, and they were very happy about it, which is a unique take on that. In A Christmas Carol with Kelsey Grammer, you have that element. But this was a lot more joyous. And the fact that Scrooge was taking the song in a good way made it more scary when he found out who they were singing about. Can I say, spoiler alert, if you know Christmas Carol, you know exactly who they're singing about. And I thought that was absolutely brilliant. And the fact that one of the last songs really was reflective, and you really saw the clock, the real change in Scrooge. I think this is a great one for kids to see. I think watch this one, watch the Jim one, and then probably the Muppet Christmas Carol for children. It's absolutely brilliant. And this really is a family version of this particular movie story. And I would probably pick those three, and then The Man Who Invented Christmas is probably the fourth one you would introduce kids to. Or watch The Man Who Invented Christmas. Then I heard the Muppet Christmas Carol is probably the best written, that is closest to Charles's original. I have to say I've not read the original novella. Idiot me. I'll probably go this one, Jim, and then I would probably got the Kelsey Grammer version of Christmas Carol. Probably in that order. It's probably where I would definitely put Kelsey's far down the list. I love Alan. I love Casey. I love Jesse, but that version was a little bit more far-fetched than the ones I just mentioned. So have you sat through the Scrooge, A Christmas Carol on Netflix? Please write down your thoughts in the comment section below, and I shall see you in my next review. Ciao.